Welcome to our Stories of Hope podcast of the Bible GPS. And as I've said before, we're going to continue our podcast series, the series of hope, because we live in challenging times. People need hope. And my one friend told me one day, one of the best ways to give people hope is getting the stories of people out there, because people have so many stories of hope. And today I have a wonderful guest here, and he's going to share his story, a remarkable story, and that is Ron Gross. Do I pronounce your last name correctly?
That's correct.
Ron, it's amazing to have you here. And it actually started when I was in Canada. A friend of mine gave me a cross, and then I asked her, where do you get this cross? Because everywhere I go, this is the first time ever I wear a cross. Mm-hmm. Because when I saw that, it was so different. And when I walk with the cross in stores, people will make comments, wow, that is beautiful. And then I heard a little bit about your story. And for me, it's a brilliant story of hope. So my question to you is, how did you come across making crosses?
Well, that is quite a story. My wife and I were on a motorhome trip to Arkansas in the fall of 2016.
Okay.
And as our custom, every time we're in a town on Sunday morning, we pick out the closest Methodist church to where we're parked, where our motorhome's parked.
So you're a good example. On holiday, you go to church.
Oh, yeah.
Wonderful.
So we went to this small Methodist church. I mean, tiny church. They had less than 30 people there for the Sunday service. And two fellows came up to us and had these crosses around their neck, and they took them off and gave it to us. And they said, the tradition in our church is that any first-time visitor receives one of these crosses. And they said, explain that they're made out of horseshoe nails, and they said, we give them away. So we thanked them and all that, went through the service, and I got to looking at them after the service, and I said, I can do that.
So what prompted you to realize, but I can do this? Why were you interested in making a cross?
Well, I just thought that was kind of neat the way they gave that to us and welcomed us to their church.
Okay.
Made us kind of feel welcome and a part of their service there instead of like a visitor. So
yes.
We just kind of felt at home.
And what happens next?
Well, I went to a hardware store there in Hot Springs, Arkansas, and I bought some horseshoe nails. Didn't know anything about horseshoe nails. I thought a horseshoe nail was a horseshoe nail,
Yeah.
But as I found out, they're all different size horses. They're different size horseshoes and different size horseshoe nails.
Yeah.
These happen to be a City Slim, number 5 City Slim. Never knew there was such a thing in my life.
No, it's the first time I'm hearing that as well.
Yeah. So I bought a box of these horseshoe nails and started practicing, and it took me about a month to figure out how to do it.
But what prompted you to do it?
I was impressed with the generosity of these guys, and I said, that'd be kind of neat to do that, give them out to my friends.
Just shows you the power of generosity, Ron.
So I had, after I learned how to make these, after about a month, and I threw a bunch of them away.
Yeah.
And I came up with a way to make them very crude at the time. And I said, I'll make a dozen of these, or maybe 2 dozen, give them away to my friends at Shalimar Methodist Church, and that'll be it.
And Shalimar is in the panhandle of Florida.
Yes.
Yes.
My idea was just to give them to our friends there at church, and then we'd forget about this thing.
Yeah.
So every time I'd give them out, my friends would say, hey, I've got a daughter up in Tennessee that would like to have some of these, or my brother-in-law in Georgia needs some, or something like that. Do you have any more? So I started making more and more. And as a result now, after 6 years, I'm almost to 17,000.
17,000.
16,760 today.
So you count every one that you make. You know exactly how many you make.
Oh, yeah.
So it's about 17,000. And do you need some help doing that? Because that's quite a lot.
Well, I have, that's another interesting story. I was making these things, and I could do about 15 of them a week.
Yes.
Working every night.
Mm.
And I was getting tired of, it was really pushing me, and I had more demand than I could supply.
Yeah.
So I said, well, I just need to pray about this thing. So I just asked the Lord, I said, Lord, I don't know if I'm doing the right thing or not here. But I said, if you want me to do this, I've got to speed up the process. Well, within 30 minutes, I had about 6 ideas popped into my head on how to speed this process up. And I also had 2 different people volunteered to help me, which was
great.
Yeah.
Oh, from your congregation?
Yes, yeah. Yeah, Tony Malini, our church administrator, he volunteered to help me. He bends the nails. And then I had another couple, Frank and Betty Brooks, that they agreed that after I got them put together and wrapped the wire around them and all that, they would put the chains on them, bag them up in a little bitty 2-by-3-inch bag.
Yeah.
So that was a big help. So
Correct.
that speeded up the process.
Yeah. And is the demand growing, Ron?
I do what now?
Is the demand growing of the crosses?
Well, it is. It is.
What do you think makes your cross so different and special?
I don't know. People say, just like you, in it, that people see it around your neck and comment on it. Most of our members, well, not say most of them, but a lot of members in our church wear these.
Yeah.
And they have them in their pocket. And if somebody comments on it at the grocery store or something, they just give them one.
Yeah.
Or take it off around your neck and give it to them.
Do you have people maybe who wrote to you or phoned you and said, this has meant a lot to me?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Can you maybe share one or two of those stories?
I had one story that especially touches my heart. Is we go in the winter, we go down to Port St. Lucie, Florida, go to the First United Methodist Church there. And one day, this lady, back before the pandemic, when everybody got up and shook hands and meet and greet before the sermon, I had on one of these crosses, and this lady behind me commented on it, and so I just took it off and gave it to her. And I said, here, these are to be given away.
Yeah.
So the next week, she come up to me before the service, and she said, you wouldn't believe what happened to me here last week.
Yeah.
She said, I walked out here after the service, and she said, a lady come up to me and commented on this cross. So she just took it off, gave it to her, and said, a man gave this to me about 30 minutes ago, and I'm going to give it to you.
Yeah.
And said, this lady started bawling like a baby. She said, you would not believe the week I've had, and this is the only good thing that somebody's done for me all week.
Yeah. So you're making crosses is really kind of a ministry that touches the lives of people, and sometimes you don't even know about it.
You don't know it. That's right.
And you still keep going, and your passion is still there.
I'm going. I don't know how long I can go because I've developed macular degeneration.
Okay.
Which you slowly are going to go blind.
Yeah.
I get a injection in the eyeball every 8 weeks, and that slowed it down a little bit. But I don't know. Doctor says they don't know how long it'll take. Said it's different with everybody.
Yeah.
But eventually, you're pretty much going to go blind.
Yeah. So, Ron, just hearing that, what you said, what does the cross means to you? Making the crosses, what does it really mean to you as a person?
It's something that I can do to give back. I can't sing. I don't feel qualified to teach a Sunday school class or anything like that.
Yeah.
I can do these. I think everybody has special gifts.
That's right.
That you have to utilize.
Yeah.
And I think that's my way. And I think maybe selfish, but I think that's maybe why my eyesight is not deteriorated any faster. That maybe somebody wants me to keep making these crosses.
Good. So is it a kind of a miracle that it's not going faster, this deterioration?
Yes.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So that keeps you going, making the crosses.
that keeps me going.
And what does the gospel of Jesus Christ, dying for us on the cross, mean to you in your personal life?
It's something that you think about all the time. I feel like that, whatever little bit that I can do to give back to the gospel, because a lot's been given to us.
You're right.
And like I say, I can't sing a lick. I got kicked out of a music store one time trying to learn to play a guitar. So,
so you realize, that is not your gift. It must be somewhere else.
That's right.
Yeah. No, that is quite remarkable. So, Ron, how is it possible, for people to get hold of these crosses?
Well, they can call me. We give them away at the Shalimar Methodist Church. They give them a gift bag to any first-time visitor. They get a couple of these crosses, and that's one way that we distribute them.
That's a brilliant way to do it. Yeah. And if someone's maybe from another country or another state, they want these crosses, how do they manage to get hold of them?
I've sent them out to California, Michigan, Tennessee, different states. People call and ask for them, and I just send them out.
Wow. So people can call you, and they can call the church office. Am I right?
They could call me.
Okay.
If you really want to pick one up, go to the church office and be a first-time visitor, and they'll give you one.
Wonderful. Yeah. That's a way to get people into church. Come and get a crossover on. So we will leave your details below our YouTube video, and then people can contact you. If you don't mind, if we can do that, then people have access to your number, and then I think you will become more busier. That would be great.
Well, I'm doing all I can do right now, but I'll accommodate them the best I can.
But it's just amazing, Ron, that you have started something. It started with generosity in a small town church, and now it is kind of part of the ministry of your church.
Well, it has grown into that.
Yeah, and that is something that you did not plan.
No,
you just listened to the voice of God. God said, "You know what? I'm going to do this," and you tried many times, and it didn't look good, and you make it perfect. You didn't give up.
That's kind of what happened.
What do you think is the message for us in that, looking and listening to your own story of just doing something small? What do you think is the message for us?
Well, there are different ways to serve the Lord. I know that.
Correct.
You don't have to be a minister. You don't have to be a Sunday school teacher or a choir director. Everybody has their own gifts.
Correct. And you have discovered yours at a very late stage, which is...
That's correct. I'm closer to the end than I am the beginning of life.
Yeah. Ron, just a question from a different point of view, if I can change gears here. You are, a senior person. You've experienced much in life. Just amazing that your passion is around the cross of Jesus Christ. How do you perceive what is going on in the world today? What does it do to you, and how do you try to find hope?
Well, I'm glad that I'm not a child right now.
Why do you say that, Ron?
Well, as evil as the world is now, I cringe to think about what it'll be in another 50 years, if it lasts that long.
Yeah. Do you have grandchildren, Ron?
Yes.
Okay. And so how do you think we as more senior people can give hope to our grandchildren in this world that is really challenging for our kids as well?
Well, I think you have to set an example for them.
Great.
That's the main thing. Show them you love them and set an example for them.
Well, I think there's nothing more powerful than that, because then they see the gospel in you. Yeah, when you do that. Ron, yes.
But it's interesting the way that I got involved with a Methodist church. I was raised in a Baptist church.
Okay.
And up in Tennessee, very strict environment. And once I got married and left home at 20 years old, I said, I don't have to do this anymore.
Okay.
I'm on my own.
So you quit going to church?
I didn't go to church for 45 years.
45 years?
Yeah.
And what brought you back to church, Ron?
Maybe for a funeral or a wedding or something like that.
Yeah.
But it's funny, I had a golf buddy that he was after me for 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
I want you to come to church with me.
Yeah.
And I'd said, Charlie, I'm busy this weekend. I got a golf game or I'm working or something.
Yeah.
And I had every excuse in the world. Well, one day he says, listen, he said, your wife and my wife are both out of town this week. And he said, you're going to church with me.
Wow.
He said, you be there at 11 o'clock Sunday morning. He said, I've heard all your excuses. Don't want to hear any more. He said, you just show up. So I said, okay. I'll go, and maybe that'll hush him up.
Yes.
So I go to church with him on Sunday morning.
Yeah.
And I had just a warm feeling just enveloped my whole body.
Was that Shalimar Methodist
Yes.
Church? Okay.
I said, this is home. I really feel good here. So that night my wife called and she says, what did you do today? And I told her, I said, well, you won't believe this, but I went to church. And she said, you did what? And I said, yeah, I went to church.
Yeah.
And I said, in fact, I'm going back next Sunday and I'm going to take you. And she said, well, we'll talk about that. So I got her to go with me the next Sunday, and we attended regularly for almost a year, and then we joined, and that was in 2010. So we've been there 12 years now.
But just imagine that if it wasn't for that friend of yours, you would probably not have had this ministry of the crosses. Am I right?
Well, that's correct.
Wow. So
Yeah.
it just shows you the persistence he had, praying for you, and really wanting the best for you.
I believe that. I've thought of that a lot, you know.
Is your friend still around?
No, he's regretfully passed on.
Okay. Yeah, but what a legacy he had in you, to not giving up on you and the crosses you make and how it is touching the lives of other people, that we never need to give up because we never know what the impact will be.
Well, that's correct. It's humbling when you think about that.
Yeah. But Ron, just listening to your story, what is so amazing to me, when I look at the cross, where Jesus died for us, that God pursues us, that God never gives up on us, and God has never given up on you. And who would have thought that you would have started this ministry that 17,000 crosses later, it's a lot.
And I've never sold one. They've all been given away.
Wow.
I send them out to people, in other states. I pay the postage on them.
Wow, that is wonderful.
It's all been just a gift to people.
Yeah, no, that is remarkable. Well, I've been about, I think 3 Sundays ago, I've been to Shalimar Church to meet you there for a worship service.
That's correct.
And that was when you had that musical on for Christmas.
Yes.
And I also felt the same warm feeling at that church. It was really great for me to be there. It just brought me into the Christmas spirit. And meeting you there for the first time was also amazing. We had coffee there. I just felt very good there. So if people in the Shalimar area, it's close. It is next to Fort Walton Beach.
Yes.
And
We welcome everybody. It's a warm, welcoming church. It just feels like home to me.
Right.
That's a big part of our life. We're there every Sunday. Sometimes for some reason you can't make it on Sunday.
Yes.
And I really feel bad the next week, It seems like it's a long week.
If you miss a church
if
service.
you miss a church service.
Because you haven't seen your family.
And for the 40-something years I didn't go, thought never crossed my mind.
Yeah. Ron, I saw that you brought some crosses. Can you maybe just take one out and that we can just show it closer to the camera?
Sure.
So you brought those for me, am I right?
That's correct. So that's the way they come, straight from the factory.
And how long does it take to make one?
Well, everybody asks me that. I can make Well, to give you a little perspective on it, in 6 years I've made 18,000, so I make approximately 3,000 a year.
Wow.
2,500 to 3,000 a year.
That is remarkable. That is remarkable. Ron, I really am thankful for you coming to share your story. It's a story of hope. For me, it's more than a story of hope. It's also a story that God doesn't give up on us.
Mm-hmm.
And you never know what God can do through you.
That's true.
And how you can touch the lives of other people. And my prayer is that you will continue, that God will give you good health, good eyesight, that you will make many, many more crosses to touch the lives of people. And thank you for those crosses. I will do the same and hand it out to people that cross my road.
Now, I'll tell you another little sidelight to go with along with this.
Yes.
What makes this so easy is I'm a tremendous baseball fan. So I get out in my workshop during the baseball season. I got to get the radio there, get the Atlanta Braves game on the radio, and the baseball game takes about 3 hours.
Yes.
So I'm out there at night working, making crosses, and listening to baseball.
Well, that keeps you going.
Yeah.
That is great. Ron, thank you so much.
All right, sir. Appreciate you.
All the best for you and your health as well, and enjoy your holiday. I believe you're going away for a few months.
Going away for a few months, but we'll be back.
Wonderful. God bless you, Ron.
All right. God bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For more information about the Bible GPS, please visit our website at TheBibleGPS.com. Please subscribe to our channel, share the video, like it, and leave us a comment. You can also support our ministry by donating. All the information is in our website. Thank you and God bless.